welcome to Ask Raghulan. So today we're going to see what are the things that you can actually do for your super bike, especially to actually reduce the height of the bike. Because most of the super bikes, they actually start with around somewhere around 825 millimeters, and then they go all the way up from 830 to 840 millimeters. So that's actually pretty tall for people who was of, like, say, average height of, let's say, 5'5". So now, what are the things that you can actually do to reduce the bike height, so that you can actually touch the feet on both sides, and which gives a lot of confidence while you're driving it. So now let's check it out. First, we will actually see how for shorter riders, what are the things that we could actually do for the bikes. So first of all, as I said, super bikes are actually comes with some sort of a standard size. They don't actually come with sort of large, medium or small sizes. They actually come with a certain range between 825 millimeters to 845 millimeters. So now that is actually pretty tall for some of the people, but it's not the end of the story. So first thing is, you need to know so what is the height that actually suitable for you. So go for the lowest one first, of course, and then check the specification seat height for different bikes. So let's say if you have a comparison between Kawasaki versus Honda versus let's say BM, so you check which is the lowest seat height. So that's the first thing. And second thing is check your inseam as well. So that's basically some people can have a higher inseam and some people will have a lesser inseam. So that I actually show a picture to understand what it is. So in a nutshell, so when you are actually trying to find the height of the bike, so it is not actually just from the ground till the height of this location matters. So it actually also matters. Another thing is, let's say, how narrow this portion is. So if this portion is not too narrow, then it doesn't matter what's the height of the bike, you will still find it a bit difficult to actually land your legs on both sides. So that is one thing you need to know. So let's say some of the bikes have these ones, these portions pretty narrow, and some of them have this one bit broader. So that is one thing you need to check. For that, you may not able to find a lot of statistics or specifications on that. So in a nutshell, you just have to go into a showroom and you need to sit and find yourself, see if you're comfortable. And another thing is, so just don't try to feel it from a static position. So try to move the bike around, and typically the areas, locations where you might actually find difficulty is when there is a slope and upward slope, downward slope. So that is where actually you find it difficult to land your legs, and that is where the confidence gets reduced. So my suggestion is, when you go for a test drive, don't go in a straight road, just go into turns and corners and stuff, ups and downs, most probably the ramps are the right places for you to see if you're feeling comfortable on the bikes, because that is one of the places where you have to put your legs on the ground to actually stabilize a bike. So that is one thing. And second thing, the CG of the bike. So the CG of the bike is basically where the weight of the bike is. Now let's say, for an example, so when you look at the bike from a side view, so the weight of the bike can be, let's say, from this position, and some places, some of the bikes, it will be in the lower position. So it's actually based on which location it is where the CG is. So let's say if the weight of the bike is on a higher side, and then the CG will be a bit higher from the ground. If it is on the lower end, so the CG will be on the lower side of the bike. So the advantages of this one is, when it's actually on the lower end, you don't actually feel the weight of the bike. So most of the weight actually will be taken care of by the ground, and even when you're actually leaning over, so the weight doesn't come on your legs. So if the weight of the bike is a bit higher, and then the weight will actually, when you flip lean the bike over, so the weight will actually fall on your legs. So that's going to be a bit difficult. So another thing that you might have to test is, let's say, when you go and check your bikes in a showroom, just make sure that when you lean the bike over, is the weight actually coming too much on your legs, or the bike is actually taking care of the weight on its own. So one of the things which I like about the BM is basically the CG is pretty low, and compared to Ducatis, this is really good. Ducatis, the CG is a bit higher. So now if you lean over, if you do cornering and things like that, it will be fine as long as you have torque. So as long as you have power on the bike and you're going on the lower gears and all that sort of stuff, which is fine. If not, then you need to counter it. To counter it, you need to actually put a lot of effort from your side to balance that. So that is one thing you need to know. And the next thing is your seat cushions. So some of the bikes, standard bikes, comes with a pretty high seat cushions. That's to keep it comfortable, because these bikes runs at pretty high speeds, and so you need to have some sort of a decent cushion for you to ride it for a certain while. So cushion of the bike is something you can trim it off. You can shave it off to almost like a half inch to an inch if you need it, and that will actually reduce the height. And but my suggestion is keep that as a last choice, because you may actually feel comfortable with your feet on the ground, but if the seat is not too comfortable, you may not be able to ride it for too long. Because I rode one of my mate's bike, which has got a trimmed seats, and so that wasn't really comfortable, so I wasn't enjoying the ride. So even though I was able to plant my legs, let's say for example, pretty comfortably on both sides, but it wasn't a comfy ride, so I wouldn't really be going for a long drive with that. And also, let's say the feet problem is basically only when the bike is static or when it's on low speeds. Other than that, you're going to put your feet onto your footrest and it's going to keep going. So so that's actually something, as I said, like the seat is something which I would do it at the end, not at the front. Now next thing would be is your custom seats. So there is actually custom seats that you can buy without trimming the standard seats. I would really recommend that if you have some budget. So now let's say in this case, so we have a custom seat, and so this is something we did some testing some time ago for tracks, because this is actually performance seats, and so you can buy seats like these ones, which will come with a bit thinner sole, so that actually it reduces the height. At the same time, it also keeps you comfortable, because if you just trim this standard seat which comes with the standard foam, it's not going to be pretty good. Whereas if you get a performance seat, generally they are actually made to be leaner, and also it actually reduces the amount of weight that goes on the bike, and then it still be cushiony, so you will still have a comfortable ride. So that is something which I would recommend. And so the brand wise, there are plenty of brands which does that, but so you just need to find something which goes with your bike. So that's one thing, and then read some reviews and stuff. So most of these seats, some of the manufacturers, they don't really make it decent enough, and some of them they do make really good ones with leathers and stitches and all that sort of stuff, which looks nice. So yeah, go for ones which actually feels nice for you. So next and most important thing a lot of people ask is, what about lowering links? So where do they go, and how do we change that? So lowering links are nothing but just these ones. So you can actually this is the standard lowering link which comes with the BMW, the same thing which comes with a lot of bikes as well. So if you buy a Honda, Kawasaki, Ducati, a lot of bikes, they have these links, and so this is basically connecting your bike in the bottom. So I don't know if you can see it, but in a nutshell, so this is the part right up here. So this is the one, that is a link which connects the bike's frame, and so now you can actually get some sort of a lowering link online, which has got these sort of adjustable link. So this is basically the link arm, and so if you get a adjustable lowering link which can actually adjust the length of the arm, which will reduce the bike's height. And so with respect to the lowering links, most of the riders who have reviewed them, they are pretty tall enough, and I don't think so they have first-hand experience using the lowering links on any of their bikes. And second thing is, most of the people who complain about dynamics, about the bikes being changed, or it reduces the rider quality and all that sort of stuff, I don't know, like say what capacity they're referring to that, because of course the bikes are actually designed with a particular structure and frame in mind, and then it is designed to go in corners and everything like that. It's based on geometry and engineering, of course, and when you alter it, things will change. But I don't think so it will actually change to that sort of a drastic way that it actually affects the ride quality. And so with my experience, I have changed this one on a BM, and it rides really good. I mean, like, I feel so confident compared to before the links. So the link doesn't really have not changed any in the riding quality as such. And with respect to other bikes as well, so most of the people who have used, I spoke to a few people before changed mine, and most of them said like it does make a lot of difference in terms of the comfort on how they actually use it. So my suggestion is, if you got an option to change the links, my suggestion is change it, but don't lower the bike too much, and then ride it for a while, and once you feel comfortable, then you can continue with that. And but keep the original links with you, so do not throw it away. So just in case if things doesn't go as planned, then you can put it back the original link, and then you can start using as such. And so next thing is, when you actually change the lowering links, one of the things that you may have to worry about is the stands. The standard stand that comes with the bike, they are actually non-adjustable stands, in the sense. So they are non-adjustable stands in the sense, so you can't really adjust the length of the stand. So that means when you lower the bike, this stand will become useless. So you will not be able to use the stand at all on the bike, because the bike will become too steep, and it will be highly risky for you to park the bike with that stand. So my suggestion is, when you're actually lowering the bike, do not touch the bike until you get the stand, because then you may be able to change the link, but you will not be able to park the bike. So that is a risk. So make sure that when you plan to change the lowering links on the bike, make sure that you get a stand. And remember, the standard stand doesn't have an option to adjust the link, but whereas if you get some of the performance stands, or stands which has got an option to adjust the length of the strand, then you should be able to get it. Now let's say if you look at this particular stand, as you can see, so there is an option where you can actually change the length of the stand. You can adjust it to 3 or 4 different settings, and that actually helps you to adjust the length. And so apart from this, next thing you can also try is, you can get a good boot. And so most of the standard shoes that you get, they may not have enough sole in there, they may not have enough heel in there, and so it actually gives you an average height. So this actually improves height a lot of it. Most of this boots that you get, they come with the higher boots, like higher heels, so this actually increases the height as well. So my suggestion is, all these things you can try it out, and so this doesn't stop you from getting a bike. So your height is not a matter actually, because as I said, once you have the skill set, and your height is something you wouldn't even worry about it. So it's all about getting into super bikes, and then that's actually the key to getting in there. Alright guys, we'll catch up in another video. If you have any questions, just put it onto the comment section, and then if you like my videos, subscribe to the channel. Thank you.